I'm live.
Too late.
We're live. And here we are after many weeks of hibernation. Episode number 45, the Minor League Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Brent Ramlin with Ranch. Joining me this week is Connor, property of Zach.
Hello.
The property of Zach lives on in some form or another.
Well, see, I was telling you not to go live because I don't have my beautiful lower third explaining that my name is Connor, property of Zach.
Yeah. Well, we could do it on the fly, there's so many things going on right now. I hope that if you're listening to this, you're having a much better experience than if you YouTube this episode, because we are just messes. I got a Build-A-Bear behind me. Connor's broadcast.
That looks like a Winnie the Pooh.
No, it's a Build-A-Bear that I got for my 16th birthday.
That sounds interesting.
It happened. I'm not saying I didn't do it. I didn't buy it for myself.
Does it have a heart inside of it?
I think so. Is there a motorcycle?
Yeah, that would be a thing that's outside of my house.
Certainly a motorcycle going on. There you go. Just did my lower third on the fly. So we've been gone for a bit. I moved back to New York, so that's how my life is going. Connor's still in Oregon.
Not moved. Not once.
You still have no sales tax on anything.
Yep, that's why I'm not moving.
So it's a good reason not to move. I went from California to New York, and sales tax is obnoxious in both states, paying like 8%, more than 8%. I know it's terrible because every time that I buy an electronic good, I have to factor that in. A 10% off coupon means nothing to me. That just means what the price is without tax. It's the sticker price if you get 10% off. These are the problems I have. So, for those of you who have been listening, who just kept us in your podcast catcher feed, and now you're seeing this glorious update. It's been a little while, but we're back. Crazily enough, I want to catch up with the 4 or 5 weeks we missed, because on the 14th of next month, which is not that far away, it is going to be a year since we started doing this.
That's a long ass time.
365 days of just being the worst people imaginable and having a podcast. What this podcast used to be about before it completely fell apart is there's a number of folks would get together once a week and bring a geeky topic to the table. Everybody would, and then we talk about it and cycle. But at this point, we're just week to week. Most of the time now it's 2 people. We're gonna try and get more people back in, but everybody's schedules. People are actually moving, also coast flipping and school and work and doing all sorts of other stuff. And many of us are in transition periods, so you will get something in your feed. It'll resemble a podcast. It'll fit the loosest definition of a podcast.
Hopefully, it will happen once a week.
It's gonna happen once a week. I want to do it more than once a week and just do some catch-up stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be until the anniversary. You're not gonna know what to expect. There's just gonna be updates coming at you whenever we could get a couple of people together. So Connor and I, usually when you do the 2 people show, we only have one topic. But this time, it's been so long, and we have 2 things that we can talk about. We're going to talk about 2 things. We're going to talk about iPhones, which is geeky, and then we're going to talk about concerts, because this show has nothing to do with anything anymore. Connor, I bought the new iPhone.
You did. I did not buy the new phone.
Because you're not up. You're living the contract life like I am.
Yes, I am living the contract life. I cannot buy a new phone until November 2015. So the iPhone 7.
Yeah, absolutely, or 6S Plus. The weird thing is
6S Plus.
It almost sounds like a sentence. 6S Plus. Success. Boom. That's good. Plus. That's branding. That's a branding move right there. It's the communications degree coming out. So I was due. I'm on the number cycle. So I had a 4, a 5, and now I went for the 6 Plus because.
You're a crazy person.
I'm a crazy person. I wanted to try it out, and so.
And now that you've tried it, do you want a smaller phone?
No, I love it. It's like I can't go back. It's amazing. It made my old phone, which I gave to my cousin. I set up my new phone, and I had a little bit of iTunes was giving me some agita. But after I sorted that out, I picked up my iPhone 5, which was my daily driver for 2 years, and up to that morning was just the phone that I used. I picked it up to delete all of my stuff off of it to give it to my cousin. It felt like a toy.
How heavy is your phone? These are the important questions.
It's not that much heavier because it's got more volume. Clearly, we're talking about screen real estate here, but it's thinner. So ultimately, it didn't feel it didn't feel too different than the 5S or the 5 plus a case. I have a bit of a thinner case on that one, so it's not a crazy thing. I think, Connor, your problem, and the problem of many people that would have people have been having with this phone, skinny jeans and this phone, not the best.
No, it's too big. The pants are not the problem for me.
No,
It's fitting that in one hand.
You like? Oh no, it's
No.
no. I mean, like I have slight man hands. Like if I can kind of fit my thumb to most of the screen.
Yeah.
But no, you have to kind of do it like that. You're doing a lot of this, and then the two. Like I feel like I'm playing a Game Boy Advance SP when I'm when I'm texting.
I want a cell phone, not a Game Boy.
Oh man, oh it's so good to watch. I watched videos on it for the first time ever last night because I was charging my laptop and I was just like, oh, I wonder how video looks on this. Oh, it's so nice. 5.5 inches is an absolutely great size for a cell phone for many people. I'm actually going to be writing a review for my website after I do a couple of more tests. But the 6 has also been getting rave reviews. The reasons why I really got the 6 Plus are the battery life is improved by virtue of the fact that the chips are only slightly different and there's just more real estate.
Battery.
Yeah, and also it has a slightly better camera. And so I take photos and video with my iPhone. It's like my primary video and photograph taking thing on the go device. And so that was important to me. But the 6 has been getting, I've seen sample photos from that, and that's a cool phone. Would you consider 4.7 inches too big, or is that kind of like,
no, that's acceptable. The big ones, man. Once you need two hands, I cannot take it.
Yeah. No,
that drove me away from Android, because every single new cool phone that came out was like, oh, and we doubled the size. No.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, when they announced it, I was almost mad when Apple made the announcement that the 6 Plus like had the better camera and stuff, because I'm like, I was apprehensive. And then you know that Apple Mania is a true social phenomenon in the first world, because they had printed cutouts of what the 6 and 6 Plus would look like to scale, and you bet your bottom dollar I printed them out and then cut them out and was like,
the worst.
This is not what I want to do. And then I bought when I pre-ordered the phone.
You're like, I don't want this. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where the paper didn't do it justice. Then I ordered the 6 Plus. I did a pre-order thing, so I did not wait on tremendous lines.
Wake up at 3 in the morning.
I was still up from the night before. I was just doing work through it. I was like, okay, I decided that that would just be how I lived my life for that period of time. And I got the pre-order. There were no 6 Pluses for shipping, but there were for in-store pickup. So I did the in-store pickup thing. I woke up, I think, at 10:30. I had a Chobani yogurt. I stretched for a little bit. I left. I stood in the store for 10 minutes, left, and there it was. But a couple days before that, once I got my pre-order and knew I was going to get one, I ordered a cheap case off of Amazon that some company had made these cases from the leaked molds of the iPhones, which is, again, like, just proves how sick this whole entire thing is. Because if the iPhone didn't end up looking like that, they would have been totally screwed. But I bought that, and that's like a hard shell thing. And so when that came, I held it in my hands, and I'm like, fuck. This thing is like obnoxiously big. But it is nice. So you didn't get the...
Have you taken it into the wild much?
I mean, it's
outside.
Yeah, I mean, it's my phone. So when I leave my house, it comes with me. In fact, I got a car mount. I got the Galaxy Note car mount for, I think it was like $15 from an Amazon warehouse deal. And so now it is mounted in my car, and it's just huge. That
makes sense, because you could get a nice GPS out of that.
Yeah, it is. It's a GPS, and if you have it plugged into power, you can say, "Hey Siri," and then you can activate Siri, which I use to change songs or to get directions. Like it's pretty useful. But I haven't gone to I'm going to New York City this weekend.
Ooh.
And so that'll
the big city.
Yeah. I hate you. So that's going to be a big thing to see how it kind of lasts there. Although because of the shortage of this phone, the fact that it is New York City, I'm not exactly going to be like waving it the fuck around.
Yeah.
Like
look what I got.
I got this thing. At least it's less conspicuous. I didn't get the gold one. I got space gray, which is black.
You done fucked up.
You're gonna get a gold one.
You went for excess, and you didn't get the gold one.
I didn't go all the way.
No, you're like, I'm gonna be pretty excessive, but not all the way. That's too much. Crosses the line.
Oh god. Apparently I haven't handled anyone's like at the Apple Store, so I only really know what the 6 Plus looks like in space gray in person. But apparently gold looks like weird on the
gold
6
looks
Plus.
Weird in general on the iPhones.
No, that's why it's always gonna be. I've gotten a like whatever the black model is since like forever.
Like the best. I got the white 4S one time.
Hey, listen, everybody makes mistakes.
Everyone makes mistakes.
I had you know what? I had a black iPod Classic. So even back before the iPhone days, I did that.
See, I was messing with the iPhones before. They're like, you get white. That's your only option. Or you can spend an extra $300 and get U2 black and red.
Yeah, that was unnecessary. That was weird. You know what I like?
It looked cool as fuck though.
Yeah. Oh, it still does. But I like.
It was so expensive.
Yeah, it was obnoxious. It was like an extra $150 for that.
Yeah.
And it was. I think they borked it because it was an iPod photo, and then the iPod videos came out like 12 months later, and then you were just left with this horrendously weird, like piece of technology, like an in between. I
thought iPod photo was a stupid idea.
Well, it was a stupid idea because the video came out. Yeah. Steve Jobs is like on record saying that the videos on an iPod, that would be so stupid. Photos make sense though.
That would be a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, well, I guess at the time it didn't make sense.
That screen was pretty tiny.
Yeah, it was really tiny, and then they're like, oh, so it would make no sense, but we're going to throw videos on it. And then the moment there was a color screen, people were like, why can't it play moving photographs? We're talking... And it even did slideshows, too, so they're like, if it's technically capable of doing that, then video is just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Plus video increased the size.
Yeah, it made the screen size like I think it was a negligible amount when you say it, like 5 millimeters or something. But at the time, like given the restraints of the actual body of the iPod video, the iPod like music player, which by the way, iPod Classic is dead.
Yeah, true. That's the best iPod.
It was a great iPod. I rocked one for a while. 160 gigabytes. It's a lot of gigs.
It's a lot.
And now we got 128 touches and phones and zip zoos.
I started using my 32 gigabyte iPod Touch recently because I'm running the fuck out of data.
Yeah.
And I was like, I cannot be downloading 300 meg podcasts twice a day every day.
No,
that is an unacceptable thing to do.
Okay, so you're talking about the whole excessive thing and getting an iPhone 6 Plus. I have an iPhone 6 Plus. It isn't gold, but I'm grandfathered into unlimited data.
How have they not kicked you off of that yet?
Because AT&T, it's like they're ace in the hole because Verizon said that their users couldn't do it anymore. So I
tried to pull every single loophole I could think of.
I have
data.
Unlimited data for $30 American.
That's
2007 prices.
You're the worst.
And you know what? I'm like, I do get greedy with it. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, just keep streaming.
I'll use like 14 gigabytes a month. One time I went in the store and the lady was like, well, do you want to add more data to your plan? You guys kind of have a lot. You probably don't need it. And I was like, well, you should check on that and make sure. And she was like, yeah, you're going to need some extra.
Some gigs. Gigs on gigs on gigs. So okay, you're on an off year for the hardware, but that doesn't mean you're on an off year for the software. iOS 8 also came out, and
I have it.
Got it. And I got it, and then there was 8.0.1, which was not good.
Did you break your phone?
No, I didn't. I
didn't either.
Okay, I broke my car key, which is how I didn't break my phone. Let me explain how this works, Hunter. So on my car key, there was like my mom put on like a string of like very thin beads, so you could just grab it and go or whatever. And I was at light, and I was just I was twirling it around, and it twirled around the steering wheel. of my car, and I had to make a sharp left turn. So the beads exploded everywhere, and then my key broke into 3 pieces like the fucking Master Sword or something. And,
in your car's ignition?
Oh yeah. So the metal part in the ignition still.
Okay.
But then the 2, I have automatic brakes as well, but I have automatic locks. So that like piece at the end. Yeah.
Oh, it was all attached to like one key thing.
Yeah, it broke off into 2 other pieces, and so luckily this is crazy luck. I turned in, and my car refused to move, and the wheel locked up. But it was on a small road right across from a mechanic. So I was like, all right, and I went into the mechanics, and I said, with just the metal part, and I was like, as you can tell, I'm not having a good day. And the woman laughs, and she's like, do you drive a Honda? And I'm like, yes. And so she's like, okay. And she pulled out her key, because she also drove a Honda. She said, you see how this is all together? And I said, yes, my key is very much not together. I understand that that's a problem. She's like, well, they're in the the automatic lock-unlock mechanism. There's like a transponder in there that needs to be near the ignition when you turn the metal part of the key as a security measure. So somebody can't just take the metal part and do something else with it. I don't fucking know. And so I said, okay, I can make that happen because it only broke into 2. The plastic bit only broke into 2 pieces, and I have those, but I'm going to need some tape. And so I taped together my key, and it worked. And I drove right to my dealership, and I waited at the DMV for an hour to make 2 new keys. And in that time, iOS 8.0.1 was released, and then they told you to not download it. So
were you rushing home, being like, man, the new patch is coming out?
No, I was trying to. Ironically enough, I bought a piece of stereo equipment, or I had a piece of stereo equipment, and I was bringing it to a stereo repair shop to have it like looked at. And so I was like, well, this fucking, I don't like this one bit. I wasn't even like too jazzed about the update to begin with, but they're like, okay, disables Touch ID and cellular service, so your phone becomes useless.
Honestly, one of those 2 things I would prefer. You know, cellular service, really don't need it.
I know. You and I have gone through this. How and actually, there's a.
It would screen my calls for me.
Right. And just say no.
Nope. You don't want to answer this one.
But so iOS 8, you're only going to really see the big benefits next month if you're a Mac user when OS 10.10 comes out, Yosemite.
Because that.
Well, you're in the beta, but they like continuity is not ready yet. That's where like your phone.
Yeah, some of the stuff does it. Like I can answer calls. I can send my internet stuff back and forth.
Right. AirDrop. I think you might be able to AirDrop back and forth, but like the full range of the stuff that you can do is not going to be ready until then. And that's like the biggest part of iOS is like it interfaces with the computer. But you can download new keyboards, which I did. Swipe. I like
Swipe.
I like Swipe, and I go back and forth between Swipe, which is just a swiping keyboard. I know. Makes so much sense. Where your finger doesn't leave the screen. It's almost like typing in cursive in a way if you're really good at it. Where you lift your finger. You lift your finger only when you're done with a word, as opposed to every single time that you write another letter. Also, I used a pencil today for the first time in since college, and it was a horrifying experience.
Rough life.
I hate pencils so much. I love pens, but I hate pencils. Did you ever have a pencil break during a test?
I'm sure, probably, but not that it traumatized me enough to be able to remember it years later.
I just know that me too, but I just remember that was one of the reasons why I hate pencil. There was always like the X factor of like this thing could break.
It was always an added tension. You were like, I got a 50-50 shot of finishing this test, or otherwise my pencil's just over.
Or so as you're writing the essay question on an English test, you're slowly seeing the graphite like whittle down, and you're like, this is unneeded stress as I'm trying to answer this question.
Exactly.
I mean, we're clearly not going to get any of the big. We're not going to get sponsored by like Mead or whatever.
Ticonderoga ain't going to give you none of their money.
No, I'll take Bic's money though.
Yeah, I like a good pen.
Yeah, pens are great. We'll shill. We're totally not above shill. A cousin of mine, when he when we hung out here, he's like, so you moved back to New York and stuff. I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you ready to sell out? And I'm like, yup. Totally ready to sell out. Fuck it. So iOS 8 is good. The iOS 8 update itself didn't brick anything, but people were mad because if you did it over the air, you would have to download the entire update file, which gigs on gigs on gigs on gigs on gigs. Well, it was most people. Nobody wants to plug their phone to a computer anymore.
No. I was at work when it came out. I was like, yep, doing that shit. But I had to delete a fair bit of stuff. But then it gives you all the space back.
Yeah. No, once it's done installing, it's like, okay, well, we deleted the install in the process.
At first I was like, okay, you're going to take out 5.6 gigs forever. That's kind of bad.
Yeah, that would be obnoxious. That would be, if you have a 16 gigabyte model, you only have
like I do.
Yeah, you only have like 10 gigabytes of usable space. And so to take like over 5 of that would be such a kick in the groin. When you get the new phone, if you can bump up the $100 to 64, like that's the life you want to be living.
Yeah. I always Verizon lets you sell your phones back to them for like stupid amounts of money, like a ton. I could sell my 16 gigabyte for $300 and get a 64 for that price. I think they just want you to upgrade. Yeah. The last time I did it, I decided my mom also needed a phone, so I got her a 5C and then used the rest of the money for my 5S. So I had to get the smaller one.
It's okay. Moms are cool.
Sometimes they need phones.
Sometimes moms need phones. Phones for Moms is one of my favorite charities. Really,
you should start that charity.
Really important. No, it's real. I mean, maybe that would be somewhere in the world that would make a lot of sense.
Well, see, Phones for Moms is apparently like the 6 Plus because it's so big.
Oh, it's just easier for them to read. One of my older relatives came over and we were all around the dinner table, and she's rocking a 4S right now. And she's like, oh, because I'm the geeky one in the family. She's like, oh, did you hear about the new iPhones? I'm like, hear about it?
Did I hear about it?
I'm like, listen, this is the life I'm living. And she's like, this is the one that I want. And she was like, oh, this is so nice. Like, I would love to just live my entire life on my phone and just, like, get rid of my computer. And I'm like, you became a weird cord cutter. Well, for what she does, it would make a lot of sense because she's an older lady who, if she can live in apps and stuff like that, good for her. I mean, for us, it would make no sense. I'm in the middle of like projects and this and that, and ain't nobody got no time for not being able to do stuff on a real, actual computer system. So the last bit that I want to talk about for the iPhone is that I like getting the new phones. I like the new, checking out the new hardware is always like a whole bunch of fun. The new software, a whole bunch of fun. But like, it really, like, I hate the mania, like, so much. It's really like disgusting, and it gets worse each year.
It's just annoying.
It's just you keep reading sadder and sadder stories of people waiting longer and longer and longer to get these phones, and I'm like,
every time I wait approximately 5 minutes for the lady to finish helping the person in front of me.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's my turn. I would like my phone. I'm gonna leave when I'm done. In and out in like 20 minutes.
When that's how I live my life. The phone that I've wanted out of any, like, maybe of anything ever, as after my childhood video game, like, love. Like, the thing that I've wanted the most was the iPhone 4. Like, I was so I wanted it so bad because it had all these buzzwords like Retina display and FaceTime and like HD video recording, and I was like, this is fucking, I want it. And I didn't pre-order it, and I didn't get it the first day. I got it like a couple of weeks later. I put my name down at because I put in like a reservation at my local Apple store, and they were like, whenever we start getting more stock, we'll call the people on the list in order. And like I got called, I think, like 10 days after the phone came out, and again, it was an in-out 10-minute process, and I loved that phone to hell. It was an amazing phone. But if I didn't get the pre-order for the 6 Plus, I would have just waited a couple of months, and things would have been like just as okay.
For a long time.
I know. I mean, they're delayed.
I heard people who pre-ordered, like October.
Yeah, October, if not into early November. On the 6 Plus. The 6s, they're producing them like crazy. I know, it's a long time.
Could you get a 6 like right now?
I think there are definitely places where you could get a 6. Like you probably, it might not be in the color and capacity that you want, but like in a pinch, like your phone, you're out of contract and you just dropped your phone into lava, and you need
that sounds like rough life. Dropping your phone in lava,
and you need to get a new phone.
Yeah.
Then life is kind of all right. So that's it on the. Do you have any last iPhone related ramblings? Did you feel like left out? Like do you really want these new phones? Like
no, I don't actually at all. I really want when they the day they came out, I was like, okay, I need one of them. I'm gonna call Verizon. I'm gonna figure out how to get this done. And I called Verizon, and they're like, yeah, that is not gonna happen.
Right.
And I was just like, yeah, that's not bad. The only reason I want one is so that I can do my selling the phone thing right away, so they give you a ton of money, and then so that when the phone comes out that I want, I could sell whatever the newest thing I have is.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand. Is there anybody? Because the way that I finagle things is if there is somebody on your plan who's due for an upgrade, sometimes you can take.
I always take them.
It's like Mario Party almost, where you steal stars and coins and shit. You're just like, yep.
No, but the next one, we don't have any right now. Next one is in January. Somebody else is using that, and then 2 in next November.
2 next November. All right. Well, that's not the absolute worst.
No, I can get the newer phone.
You can get the 6. You can get the Success.
I can get. If they brand it the Success Plus, I will buy it.
The Success Plus.
Until that happens, I'll get the regular size.
I really want to start that now, because I want to be like the first person who does that.
Happen.
No, but I want to just
copyright it.
No, I don't even want to copyright it. I just want people to know that I thought of that joke, and then fuck all. You could
start a letter writing campaign.
Yeah, I just want
write the letters to, but it's posted.
Yeah, of course. I just want people to know that I thought of how funny that is, because somebody in June is gonna think of it after WWDC and be like, "Oh, iPhone 6s," and I was gonna be like, "No, it's mine."
Well, this dates it right here.
Yeah, and I'll be like, "Listen, I was talking about that shit right after the 6 and 6 Plus came out."
Early adopter.
Yeah, I'm an early adopter of the name. The iPhone 6s. Last point before we get moving to the second topic. 2 million units sold in the first weekend.
Is that a lot? Is that a little?
I think last year it was like 3 million.
Okay, so that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, think about it. If it's 10 million and the base price of the lowest subsidized model is $200.
Yeah. Do they? Okay. What did they do with the 5C, 5S?
5S is $100. 5C is free.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I would take a free 5C if I didn't have a better phone.
The $100 5S is like the best deal in the phone market. It's got a 64-bit processor. It's got Touch ID. It's got fast LTE. It's got all that stuff. The 6 and the 6 Plus specs wise, in some ways are remarkably better. But the 5S is by no means a slouch.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on. How do you feel about that? Touch ID.
I like it. I like it a whole bunch. Yeah, it works for me. 100%.
It does not work for me.
Why?
75% of the time, it does not work.
I have never had it not work.
I had to completely delete the fingerprints and re-add them. I think my sensor might be broken. I don't know.
Either that or you're doing weird shit with your thumbs. Putting them over flames?
I play instruments, so it could be the calluses on my fingers.
That could be it, yeah.
But it just does not work.
Weird. No, mine's got 100% success rate. With the kind of, I wanted to test it out. When the way it scans your epidural layer and then also one of your dermal layers, so you can't if you cut somebody's thumb off, you couldn't use it or whatever, or you couldn't unlock a dead person's phone, or it's super secure. But if you're in the shower for a longer period of time and your fingers prune, then your skin has absorbed water and does kind of deform until it.
So yeah, I think that is my problem. but my fingers are always like that because calluses.
Yeah,
they
could be like
when I was re-adding the thumbprint the first day, it just didn't work. It would like get 90% through the process and then just be like, I give up. Choose a different finger. Are you sure that finger did not get his fingerprints burned off in Men in Black? Because I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, no, I have it. It works, and I like it because you can do fun stuff with it in iOS 8.
Can you? Oh yeah, okay. In iOS 8, it's been prompting me for it a lot more. In iOS 7, I did not use it because the only thing was unlocking the phone in the App Store. Right. But I swear you have to download a new app like every 6 hours for that thing to stay active.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Every single time they're like, "Oh, it's been 3 months since you last downloaded an app, so you got to put in your password."
Yeah, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
But I like the Touch ID quite a bit. All right, so we're done with the iPhones for now, until the success.
I'm sure until next week. I'm sure.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. I am going to name this episode that the iPhone success.
Okay.
Yes.
See that who has not written that as a news article talking about the 10 million sales and then just tie in some sort of bullshit rumor to next year?
Next year.
That's the clicks. Fuck this bending iPhone bullshit. I'm gonna write the iPhone success stories.
No, the iPhone success story is written every single year when they make $2 billion.
Exactly. It writes itself.
It does write itself. It really does. It writes itself. Throw in one chart and you're great. You're there. So the next thing that we're going to talk about, something that Connor and I have wanted to talk about for a little while now, concerts. Connor's gone to them. Connor's played them. I've gone to them.
Been to a few of them.
I've played
one or two in my day.
I've played a couple of them. Very, very.
I played Rock Band a lot. It kind of counts.
Oh, it certainly does. So you went to a concert very recently that was dope.
I did. It was dope. I went to Riot Fest in Chicago. Let's see. Cure headlined. Weezer played the Blue album. That was actually really disappointing.
Why? What happened? Did they not sound good?
Oh no, they were perfect. They were straight up perfect. But they probably played on a stage that fit 20,000 people.
Right.
And I would say probably 60,000 people wanted to watch them.
Oh, okay.
So I was like standing on the sidewalks that you were supposed to be able to be like way, way, way behind the crowd to walk around to other stages, and it was like I was front and center. I could not stand up. There were so many people like packed in.
Yeah, well, how far in advance did they say that they were going to play the entire Blue album? Because that's a draw.
Months. The dumb thing was they weren't on the main stage. The Cure was.
Well,
and I guarantee, I'm sure the Cure were like, I demand 2 hours in headlining, but the Cure's crowd was not as big as the Weezer crowd. Probably half as large.
The Cure are so good, but
they were really good. I watched them for an hour before I went to Weezer.
What did Weezer play besides the Blue album? Did they just do Greatest Hits after that?
Yeah, no, they started with Greatest Hits.
Okay.
They did Back to the Shack. That song's dope.
Right.
They did all of their singles from all the albums. The only one that they didn't do was the single from Ratitude, because I think they want to pretend that album doesn't exist.
Even that cover looks like a bootleg.
Yeah, I like that album. It's not terrible. The single is probably one of my favorite Weezer songs, actually.
What, was that Pork and Beans?
No. That was Red Album.
Red Album,
He did play Pork and Beans. It was a girl, if you're wondering if I want you to.
I want you to.
Open parentheses, I want you to. Close parentheses. Yeah. That was a good song.
Yeah. I'm actually very excited, speaking of Weezer, for their next record. Sounds like it's going to be really good.
Yeah. The single Back to the Shack, I really like it. They're clearly just trying to rip off the sound from 20 years ago.
Which, hey, if you're going to rip anybody off,
I'm down with that. Yeah.
Rip yourself off.
Rip yourself off at your prime.
Exactly. So that's good. See, I don't like festivals that much because there's an X factor there of like so many people. Bad stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Crowds are crazy.
I can't think of anything particularly bad that happened, but it rained the first day.
Uh-huh.
And it rained a lot. And so the rest of the weekend, completely muddy. That was like, if that's the worst thing that happens, though, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree, but there's always that X factor. I went to my first arena show of my entire life
Who?
About a month ago.
Paramore.
No, it's Paul McCartney. Paramore? What are you, high?
That was okay. That was your girlfriend. Never mind. I thought
Yeah.
you went to Paramore Fall Out Boy.
No. I went to see Paul McCartney at Candlestick Park. The last gig at Candlestick Park.
Big mosh pits for Paul McCartney.
Oh, so many pit. There was such a big pit. There was just 65-year-old people just beating each other up with canes, going crazy. He put on an excellent show for a person of his age to put on the show that he did, which was theatrical and hours and hours and hours long. And to be in such voice for such a great period of time in a venue that is was designed so poorly that when they upgraded it, it made it more of a wind tunnel than it already was initially. It was so poorly done, but the concert was so great. I just, when you have tens of thousands of people in one place, then bad crap can happen. And that's always been a concern of mine. But the crowd there was pretty great. I went there with two friends. The show was 3.5 hours. It took us 20 minutes to get there. It took us 3.5 hours to get home.
Yeah.
Because there was traffic.
That takes forever. Have you ever gone to festivals then?
Nope.
Anything at all? No?
No. I'm not even opposed to them. There would have to be something that I really liked. I don't really particularly care for a lot of the bands on Warped Tour, so
yeah, I was gonna say, did you never go to Warped Tour when you were 13?
No, when I was 13, and that would have been the prime of when I would have gone there because I like all the bands that were doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I still love Blink and stuff, but
they would not do that anymore.
I know they don't. It was
Blink
10 years.
They headlined Riot Fest last year.
It's been 10 years since American Idiot.
Yes, I wrote a thing on Property of Zach about that.
Plug it.
Now, it's the Decade feature. I wrote about how everything they've done since then is utter trash.
How do you feel about American Idiot in general?
I really like it. I think it's really good.
I was friends with people who were really into Green Day, and that album was very, very divisive. And so everybody said oh, they sold out and this, that, and the other thing. I mean, the singles were unavoidable.
Yeah, I don't like a ton of the singles anymore, just because I've heard them probably 10,000 times.
Yeah, of course.
But that whole thing was crazy when that first came out. I was it was a rock album, 3 parts.
Right.
Songs that had multiple songs inside of them. That was some crazy shit at the time.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams was everywhere. Jesus Suburbia became huge. Of course, the title track.
Did Jesus Suburbia became huge? Because that one's 10 minutes long.
It became the deep cut that everybody knew.
Okay.
In my circles.
That's my favorite song from the album.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. Boulevard of Broken Dreams is great because I was an angsty teen, but then I grew up.
Now I hate that song.
Yeah, and now I cannot listen to that song because it's so.
That and Wake Me Up When September Ends.
Oh yeah.
We're probably on the radio twice every half an hour.
Yeah, it's true, and pop and everywhere. It was on all the stations because it was it was a weird. It turned into a crossover album somehow.
Basically, yeah.
Where it became extremely, 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 extremely popular, and I was all right, whatever. I've since gone back and listened to more earlier Green Day, and I understand the fans thinking that they totally sold out, but that doesn't mean that I don't have somewhat of an appreciation for that.
Yeah. I think it's, even if they did sell out whatever, I think that's fine because the stuff they put out right before American Idiot was really bad.
What was it?
They had some dark times.
Was it Insomniac that came out?
I
think that was 01.
I think they might have done Warning first.
A Warning, right.
After, that was right before American Idiot, and Warning's not bad. But, there's that folk album. Horrible.
It's not one you associate. And then Billy Joel went kind of back to folk when he and Norah Jones did an Everly Brothers covers album.
Yeah. He does a lot of weird stuff.
Which is kind of cool, but it's different. There's some people that do it, I guess, maybe better than others. Billy Corgan is, Smashing Pumpkins, and then he does Swan, and then he does just whatever Billy Corgan does.
He can do whatever he wants.
Billy Corgan's out of his mind. He's straight
crazy.
crazy. But he's a brilliant musician. But this is supposed to be about concerts. What was the first concert that you went to?
First concert I ever went to. I went to probably about 100 symphonies.
Right. No,
before I ever went to a concert.
Folks might not know this from your Property of Zach writing, but you know the hell out of classical music.
I have quite the classical music background. So yeah, probably about 100 symphonies, and then this couldn't have been the first one, but the first big one was like the Wailers in 6th grade.
Oh man.
Yeah. There was so much pot smoke, and I had no idea what the fuck that was.
A friend of mine met the Wailers once.
Really?
Yeah, at a pizza joint before a show.
Interesting. They're really good.
Yeah, no, they are really, really good. The first concert I went to was I've always been a huge music kid, even as like a child, and I play rhythm guitar. That's it. I cannot be a guitar hero. I know how to strum chords and put them together and write words. That's my shtick.
you know how Brent was all up on that Rocksmith grind for a while. Yeah. Now it's my turn to start pitching that. You got to play that game.
I hear it's so good.
So good.
I'll take a look at that because why not?
I don't know if it's made me better at playing guitar, but
it hasn't made you worse.
It helped me pick up all the skill that I lost in 3 years of not playing.
Yeah. Oh, that's useful. Yeah. I mean, I can always use that kind of stuff. So for first concert, 16 years old. The Steve Miller Band, that hot and fucking heavy rock and roll outfit. They were playing Mardi Gras festival in Disney World, and I was down in Disney World with some family, and I was like, every other, I mean, not that Steve Miller Band's the hippest band in the entire world, but like every other gig, there was one a week, was like super lame. Like it was like Casey and the Sunshine Band.
That's what's up.
I mean, like I'm not saying that Casey and the Sunshine Band is like, that's the way I like it, is like it's a classic bad great song. But the Steve Miller Band,
their set better just be that song
for days.
That song for an hour.
But Steve Miller Band has an actual catalog. Like, Steve Miller Band is a legitimately good blues guitar player, and then he wrote some pop albums, and like I can get down with some fucking Fly Like an Eagle and fucking other shit. Rockin' Me Baby. We're talking about some Japanese music. This Abracadabra in the 1980s, which has the like weirdest freaking 80s music video, and that was like the end of his career until the revival when they stopped touring for like 25 years and then came back, or 20 years as it were, came back, and they were like, oh, now we're like a nostalgia act. So that was the first show, and then after that I'm like, I can see people live, and just went out of my way.
Yeah, how did you avoid concerts for 16 years of your life?
I don't know, and I didn't actively avoid them. I just, for some reason, it didn't click that I could see them live. I guess I was listening to bands that I was like, oh, they don't exist anymore, and then realized that, oh yeah, like some of the members of them play. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to throw out something. I have no interest in seeing Jethro Tull. A girl that I used to date is a huge Ian Anderson fan. But had we continued dating, I probably would have seen Ian Anderson, because I know that she did a couple of times. So, like, people carry on the mantle. And then it became a mix of the oldies acts, which a bunch of them I really like. And then once I got into indie rock, I think that once I got into music that young people listen to that I really liked, that were also made by young bands, then I got really interested. Then it was all about, I really want to see Vampire Weekend and like Belle Sebastian or Camera Obscura or like any of these other bands that are making music now in a space that I really like, the Decemberists, who I still haven't seen but really need to. Like that became a huge kind of catalyst for me going to shows, and I love shows. Like I'm never happier than when I'm seeing like good live music.
What's the best one ever?
The best one. So I put off seeing McCartney for like 5 years because he played New York a couple of times since 2009 and then 2011. And I'm like, I can't see him. There's a mantle or whatever. But the fact that he was playing Candlestick, the last gig the Beatles played, the last thing that would happen at the venue, yada yada, and that was unbelievable. But maybe the second, just in terms of like crazy circumstance, the second time I saw Bob Dylan, I saw him at the University of Buffalo was hosting him. as like part of their like spring concert series, which means that
was every student that goes there.
I was going to say, which means that the student council is definitely made up of folks that abuse the fuck out of their power. Because I think that they had like a really big pop. They had like, I don't know, like I forget who it was, but I think it was like Fergie or something. Someone like really, really poppy and big or whatever that would attract, you know, that could use part of like the hundreds of thousands of dollars they have in their budget. And then somebody else was just like, okay, we have to distract them with whatever this pop act is. We're also just going to get Bob Dylan like the next week. Just use the rest of this money to get Bob Dylan.
Okay, so it was not the same night.
No, it wasn't a collab. It wasn't a collab with the Katy Perry and Bob Dylan.
Yeah, that would have been so much better though.
Yeah, Katy Perry, "Blowin' in the Wind."
Yeah,
adds a whole other layer of innuendo to that song. No, so I saw Bob Dylan. It was at UB, and it was a small venue. And so I drove from Syracuse to Buffalo, waited there for like 4 hours, and I think it was April, but still really, really cold, my senior year of college, because it was central New York. I stood there, and then I was like there were no rows, so I was just like right against the grates, and I was like no further than like 10 feet from Bob Dylan, and I'm just like, this is never going to get. The man wrote like a Rolling Stone, like regardless of the fact that he sounds like a toad that gargled battery acid, like as in terms of like a 20th century cultural hero, that like who's a younger Besley Love, and that was just like icing on the cake of dope. I guess I just love small shows at small venues. Do you ever get to see any of those, or are you always at fests?
No. Well, yeah, kind of. I don't go to a ton of shows. Like, I went to Riot Fest this year. Last 2 shows before that were probably 2,000 cap. No, maybe like 1,000 cap. So that's kind of small. But then there are tons of local shows. Like, I'll go see Modern Baseball play to like 50 people.
I was gonna say Modern Baseball and Dads.
Yeah, both Modern Baseball and Dads played at Riot Fest. Didn't watch Dads. Modern Baseball played to like 7,000 people.
That's great for them.
It was absurd.
That's awesome for them. I don't really listen to a whole bunch of their music, except for the ironic time that we had an entire episode named about them. But I
didn't even listen to it then.
I think I rock like a song or two after I'm like, this is totally not my speed. But it's great that they're getting that kind of exposure. Like, that's awesome. I love when young bands. Are there any concerts on the horizon for you? Or it's Riot Fest depleted all of your funds and...
Yes, it depleted quite literally all of my funds.
I assume.
But let's see.
Did you go to Portillo's?
No, I didn't. I almost did. I went last year.
Me. Oh, okay.
I've gone before.
Okay, that's acceptable.
I've done the Portillo's. I called a cab last year from my hotel. I like had to check out, and I had like 4 hours left before I had to go to the airport. And I was like, "Yeah, can you take me to this address?" And the guy was like, "Oh, you mean Portillo's?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm calling a cab to take me to Portillo's.
Which is great.
It was fantastic. It was really good. I didn't have a single hot dog when I was there.
What are you doing?
I kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
I got some Giordano's deep dish though.
Oh, okay. Well, that's acceptable.
That's pretty good.
Oh man, I miss burritos. Is what I'm hurting for right now.
Burritos are good.
I didn't get into them until I went to San Francisco, which is the birthplace of the burrito. So where else can you, like, kind of, what conceivable place could you, more likely get into them? But man, I'm hurting for it.
Yeah, are New York burritos just trash?
I don't know.
Do they exist?
They exist, but again, I was so disinterested in burritos because I thought that they were married to beans. And I'm not a big bean guy, so I get beanless burritos. So it just put me off from the whole entire concept. I'm like, this is just...
To be fair, they're mostly married to beans.
I know, but I just say no beans. And
they're like seeing some rice on the side, but...
No, you give me... Listen, I'm talking about beef burrito, chicken burrito with, like, give me some sour cream, give me avocado on that, with some sort of peppers... Some guac, or if not a straight avocado, some guac. I'm a happy man. But I can't do beans. Beans are just not my style. I'm gonna make pico de gallo in the next couple of days.
You could probably make yourself a better burrito than you could find in New York.
I know, but I gotta get to learning how to roll burritos.
That's a tough skill.
I know it is. You have to do the tucking and stuff. I'm sure there are YouTube videos.
It's really hard. Yeah.
There gotta be like how
it's still gonna come out terrible. Trust me.
Of course. I know. Oh man, but I got a craving now. After I satisfied my pizza craving, which is lifelong. It's like a habit. Burritos are something that I'm getting into. So back to the thing at hand, because I'm about to buy show tickets tomorrow.
To what?
Cat Stevens' first U.S. tour.
So old.
Since 1976. Yeah, I'm old, but whatever. It's all good. A friend of mine wants to go as well, so it's not like I'm the only old young person. And then
you guys will still be the two youngest people there by 30 years.
Yeah, who cares? Whatever. Fuck off. It's Cat Stevens. I got the year Wild World Live. Suck it. A venue opened up in the town over from me that was like fledgling when I left and is now attracting some like slightly larger names. It's about 1,000, 1,500 seater which for a place in a random town on Long Island is like super super excellent. Because there were a lot of bands that would only play gigs in the city because there was no venue like at that level that they could play out in. And so now there's like Social Distortion and like Guided by Voices, I think, played a show there, and they're like getting like larger names. And so I'm looking at that schedule, and that's where I'll start singing the young people music. Did
you ever see shows in San Francisco? Aside from the Paul McCartney?
Yeah. I saw indie shows at the Great American Music Hall. I saw like of Montreal, and I missed Foxygen because I was not around. I really really want to see. I really want to see Foxygen or Foxygen, however you pronounce their name. It's really really good. That's what I want. That's what I want kind of property, Zach. If you could see any band that you haven't seen live, what would it be? Let's end it that question. Or have you seen Old Bucket? If you could see any band live that you haven't already seen in concert.
Not together. Does that matter?
Yeah, sure. Do whatever you want.
Over. Probably My Chemical Romance. I don't know. I'm kind of content with not having seen them and just having the albums as memory, just in case like it somehow ruined it. But that's one band that I.
Connor's content.
I could be content.
Connor, you froze.
I'm here. I'm still talking.
Yeah, no, you were. It phased out right after you said you were content, which I didn't know how content you were until you were so content that you couldn't go on.
I'm so content I killed the show.
Yeah, so if you just want to tell us what band would make you really content.
Probably My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance?
Probably.
I'm trying to think of like a really good. You know what? Belle and Sebastian. I haven't seen them yet, and I met the lead singer of the band at an indie film premiere because he wrote and directed the film, and then he signed one of my Belle and Sebastian records. And I'm like, I just need you guys to play a show in New York while I'm down here, and you have a new album that's supposedly coming out next year. You know what you do with albums? You tour them, and then I will see them.
That's usually what you do, unless you're the Beach Boys. That's another one.
Oh, that was good. That was a good show. Connor, I don't know how long we've been going on.
Maybe an hour.
It looks like we've done an hour, which is good. We're back in the habit.
We're fucking back in business.
We're back in business, talking for far too long about far too little. Remember, if you could take anything from this,
the iPhone 6 Plus is fat as fuck.
The iPhone 6 Plus is fat as fuck. The iPhone success. Connor, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find my writing on propertyofzach.com. Go check out That American Idiot Decade feature. We also did another thing for American Idiot, which kind of just like spelled out the story of the album, and if that makes sense, because like the whole thing is a concept album, so we kind of just like spelled out the story, like here's what's happened, like here's what's going on with all that stuff. So you can do that, or you can follow me on Twitter at ConnorPoz, ConnorPoz.
All right, folks, I've been your host, Brent Ramblin' with Range. You can follow me on Twitter at BRange. That is this podcast on Twitter at MLGeeks. You can send us a comment, question, or concern to minorleaguegeeks@gmail.com. I almost did a Knocking Boots podcast there because I've been listening to some of their stuff. But that's not the case. Please drop us a line. Again, comments, questions, concerns, show topics, anything that would be somewhat relevant, because this show has no.
Even if it's not relevant, I'll take it. Yeah. I don't get those emails, so I don't have to read them.
I hate you so much, because I do. And you can subscribe to this this great show, any podcast downloader or podcast or whatever you call. Tell your friends, family, people you hate if you don't like us about the show, because the more people that listen to the show, the happier that we get, and the more cool stuff that we can do. The show will now be updated far more often. We took a little hiatus while people were in transitory phases, mostly me coast flipping. But now we're back. It's great to be back. I really enjoy doing this. We're going to try and get more people onto shows, so it'll be more podcasty again. But however things may go in terms of direction, it's fun to just shoot the breeze about geeky stuff with people that are amicable. So that was long-winded. Thank you very, very much for listening to this episode of Minor League Geeks. And until next time, stay classy.